Hi, welcome to Comptroller's Corner. I'm your host, Pat Curry, joined as always by Buffalo Comptroller Mark Schroeder. Our top story today, as the city's new fiscal year begins, Comptroller Schroeder is using cutting-edge technology to close the books on the previous year's financials. Now, Mark, when you first came into office, you instituted a strategic plan. One of the tenets of that plan was to maximize the use of technology.
Right.
This new software you're using to close the books, called Caseware, is really embracing that focus of your strategic plan.
Yeah, there's no question about that, Patrick. And I'll tell you, about 2.5 years ago, when I went to the first, it's called the GFOA. It's a
Government Finance Officers Association.
It's like a convention of people who are controllers, FAs, financial advisors, people like that. And so it was at the in Albany, and I went to it. And as I was going around the convention floor looking at all the different displays and information, I did meet somebody who was a representative from Caseware. And so I simply just got a brochure, brought it and gave it to the city accountant, Bill Ferguson. He looked at it and he was intrigued by it because he felt it could be a tool embracing technology to be helpful to the accounting department so that as you're deciphering all these numbers and all these things that we have to do with the comprehensive annual financial report, it's a tool that would be helpful. And so ultimately we decided to get it, and we will be using it now for the first time. As you pointed out, the fiscal year of the city of Buffalo ended this past June, and so now over the next several months, especially the accounting department under the leadership of Bill Ferguson, and with this technology of Caseware, we'll be trying to do it in a more efficient way in going forward.
Now, these numbers that Caseware is compiling and helping your accounting department put together, they'll be put together for the comprehensive annual financial report,
right,
which usually, because of the work involved, gets issued around the end of the year in December.
Correct.
So one of the things that you wanted to do is to embrace more way to share the financial information with the city.
Right.
Now, the CAFR, Comprehensive Annual Financial Report for the folks at home, it's a very thick book, and it's all chock full of numbers.
Yeah.
And for the average citizen, it can be a little tough to interpret. And, and, you know, as the city has done that for, over a century and a half, has put together an annual financial report, you wanted to do something, and this is the first year it's ever been done in the city of Buffalo, is do what's called a popular annual financial report, which condenses all those numbers that are included in the CAFR and puts them in a more easier to read document, which includes lots of pictures and narratives. So people don't just get the numbers; they also get explanations behind what they stand for and other information about the city of Buffalo for people both who live here and people who are from outside who are interested in doing business here or interested in investing in the city of Buffalo.
No doubt about it. And as you pointed out, this is the first time we've attempted to do this, and we submitted everything to the organization, again, the Government
Finance Officers Association. And
so we did that late last year or early January. And so for the last 6 months, I've been using this document to go around the different neighborhoods and community organizations. And as you point out, if I would go with the CAFR, like 250 pages of numbers, they would not be impressed, right? But when you go with something like this, you can actually take the time to go through it. There's a lot of pertinent information in there, and there's a lot of information that are not necessarily numbers. There's information about our different colleges and different education and cultural places of distinction, and so it's just
economic development, which we touch on this show.
And it's just a wonderful document, and we did this internally. So I'm very thankful for all of the different participants within the Comptroller's office, the city accountant, Bill Ferguson, Claire Waldron, who is a CPA, who's a special assistant for me, the great Patrick Curry, with your incredible writing skills, and also we even had an intern from last year who was a graduate in the graduate program of Canisius College. And there's others who have been involved with this document. It's important to me because I do feel I have a responsibility to communicate to the people. That is a perfect way to do it, and I have the right staff in place who are able to do it. Unlike there's some other municipalities, and there aren't many municipalities around the nation, Patrick, as you know, who do this. I'm told there's less than 100 municipalities who actually do this. And I'm also told that some municipalities actually pay out big dollars, $25,000, $35,000, $40,000 to have a big ad agency come in and, mock up a real nice, pretty document. We didn't do any of that. We did it internally. We did it what we thought was important. And the only way, and I think the next thing that you're going to show our viewers, is that we actually received an award.
So
for this.
That's what I wanted to talk about. You've been waiting with bated breath for the past 6 months.
I have been
waiting to hear from the Government Finance Officers Association, and they just this week put on your desk the certificate for outstanding achievement in popular annual financial reporting. And so the city is now an award-winning PAFR. This is the highest award that the Government Financiers Officers Association actually awards for this type of reporting. And with the first time out of the gates, the city of Buffalo won the award and got very high marks from the evaluation from the GFOA.
Right, and it's really, and we're grateful for it, and we take it very seriously, obviously. And when the GFOA writes to us and says what were the finer points of our presentation, but we also look at the fine print. If there was anything that they suggest that we ought to be looking at in the future, we will definitely take that into consideration, and we will be submitting this again in every year that I'm the controller. And I'm certain with the amount of the people that I have with us in the controller's office that we will continue to do good work and to submit quality information, and then to be award winning from a third party is just a tremendous accomplishment.
So you're producing the numbers that'll be in next year's PAFR right now. As you mentioned before, the city's fiscal years start on July 1st and end on June 30th.
Correct. Yep.
So you're going to be analyzing the fiscal year that just ended, putting the financials together. But the new fiscal year also means that you're going to be analyzing the current fiscal year and how the budget projections are aligning with actual expenditures and revenues, so that you can determine whether or not the budget projections were realistic. And you'll be doing this on an ongoing basis just to find out where we're headed financially and if it's aligned with where we thought we were going.
Yeah, we do this all the time, and even before I became the controller, there were some systems in place, gap reports and things of that nature, to take a look to see how we're doing against the overall plan really that came in from the mayor and the common council. But we've taken it a step further. As you know, in our office, a special assistant that reports to me and to my first deputy, Ann Forti-Sciarrino, who the viewers know because through this mechanism, this show, the Controller's Corner, through your efforts, we've been able to reach out and show the viewers who the people are who are actually in the controller's office. And she has been monitoring, at my request, many things, just to kind of take a look at it to make sure that whatever the projections were, that we're meeting them. And if we're not, then we're clear about it. And then when we respond to either the council or to the mayor.
So you're going to be doing this at least quarterly, examining the gap reports and showing where we projected to be and where we actually are, just to kind of take a look at the revenues that you say might be questionable when the budget was issued, and evaluate them and see to what effect they're coming to realization.
Yeah, because when we actually looked officially and responded officially to the mayor's budget. We saw some things to the amount of about $15.2 million that we weren't quite sure on. And we have a responsibility to identify them. I hope that the mayor and his budget team are correct. But we are looking at it on an ongoing basis. We even look at it as closely as monthly, but then we report on it quarterly. And so early on in the fiscal year, Patrick, if we see some things that are troubling, we share it with others and let them know, because they may know something that we don't, or they could be busy doing something else and maybe they weren't aware that this could be a gap that could be problematic as you're beginning to close the year. Right now we've got some time, and so we're looking at it as closely as possible.
And switching gears a little bit, Mark, one of the things that you've tried to do in the Comptroller's office is maximize the amount of interest you get for the city's cash holdings. So you've looked outside the normal routes of earning interest by putting it in a money market account,
right.
And you've actually looked to other municipalities in order to invest your money in them and get more back. Get more money back. You increase your rate of return on investment. Now, last year you did the West Seneca School District issued a tax anticipation note that you funded.
Yep.
It increased our interest that we were earning substantially. You did a deal with the Curious Joel in Orange County School District. Same thing, increased the amount of interest we earned substantially. And this year you're renewing the tax anticipation note, or TAN as it's called, that you did with the West Seneca Central School District. And the rate that you got on this $12 million is 0.55%, which is almost triple with the 0.2% that the city's currently earning. And this runs from July to November, and the interest that will be gained by the city is roughly the equivalent of putting another firefighter or a police officer on the street.
We're pretty excited about this, and as the viewers know, 2.5 years ago when I first became the comptroller, I talked about what is called idle funds, referenced a comptroller from the 1950s, Chester Cole, and he did something similar to what we're doing. The comptroller back then and this comptroller, we weren't amused at the very small amount we were getting from the banks. And in all due respect to the banks, 20 basis points for putting your money in a money market is not good, and I'm not happy about it. And so I am in a position to do something about it. And what we've been able to do is double and triple the revenue that comes in because of this, the basis points, 55 that you had mentioned on this $12 million deal. So we're very excited about it. It's also, as you pointed out, I'm open to doing this to municipalities and school districts. I've since modified my position, and I'm really only doing this right now with school districts. And the reason why school districts and not municipalities is because there is a state intercept involved with the school districts, so that if anything were to go wrong with West Seneca, I don't expect that the West Seneca School District or the Curious Joel School District, the city of Buffalo gets paid automatically through the intercept. So there is absolutely no risk at all for us to try to get more money coming in rather than have it sit idle in a money market account, which yields nothing. So we're excited about this, and we do this under the guidance of the state comptroller, and so it is just an absolute win-win for the citizens of the city of Buffalo. We've been able to bring in close to $100,000 over the last 2 years in doing this, and we are also helpful at the same time to the West Seneca School District, who has a gap that they had to fill, and also to a school district in Orange County.
And actually, West Seneca's getting a better deal than they would have if they went onto the open market.
That's exactly right.
So it's a win-win for both the city of Buffalo and the school district in West Seneca. Now, Mark, before we take a quick break, this is not the only effort that you're looking in to share services with other municipalities. You have the Claire Waldron CPA that you mentioned is looking into other avenues where the city of Buffalo can cooperate with other municipalities and find a way that both can save money, as you did in this tax anticipation note.
Yeah, that's correct. And this has been something on my mind for a long time. And you know, some people call it regionalism, some people call it consolidation. I simply call it shared services. And again, there is guidance offered by the state comptroller on this. And so we're just very, very under the radar screen. We're taking a look at it. I've had some preliminary conversations, you know, with the school district. I've had some preliminary conversations with the Erie County Comptroller, just preliminary, just to see, do we have anything to talk about? And I think right now, and also there is a think tank out of Albany. We've talked to them a little bit and let them know that we perhaps have an interest in this shared services. But we're not going to delve into anything quickly. We're going to do it with discipline, and we're going to be deliberate in terms of what it is we want to do. But we're open to it, and I think the city of Buffalo and the citizens know that that's a good thing, to be open to doing things that are going to save money for the citizens.
Well, Mark, we got to take a brief break.
Okay, Patrick.
Stay tuned for more Comptroller's Corner after this message.
The Buffalo Employment and Training Center is your one-stop source. The center conveniently brings employment, training, and other workforce services to customers and employers in a one-stop environment. And the center is open and free to anyone seeking employment. If you are out of work, not happy with your current job, or are looking to improve your computer skills, the Buffalo Employment and Training Center is right for you. We are conveniently located in downtown Buffalo at 77 Goodell Street with plenty of free parking. So, what are you waiting for? Give us a call at 856-JOBS. That's 856-JOBS today.
Hi, welcome back to Comptroller's Corner. I'm your host, Pat Curry, joined as always by Buffalo Comptroller Mark Schroeder. In a letter to the mayor, Comptroller Schroeder had suggested that the administration of federal anti-poverty funds go through a competitive bidding process rather than being automatically awarded to the Buffalo Urban Renewal Agency. Now, Mark, the reason you did this is because you're struggling with the delays that the Buffalo Urban Renewal Agency, or BURA, is currently experiencing as far as getting the federal anti-poverty funds out in the street to help people, especially in the home programs and the repair programs that help people with the needy people with getting new roofs and new hot water tanks and new furnaces. So this is one way you think there might be other agencies out there that could do a better job, and that you encourage the administration to at least open up the shop and give other organizations an opportunity to do this, because Bureau's track record just isn't that great in this kind of.
So, I mean, you know, I've been doing this now for 2.5 years, and the administration knows I'm a straight shooter, and when the administration does something well, I'm the first one there to congratulate them and tell them you're doing great. And then when things are not going well, I am not afraid, and I'm very clear and very candid, and I have been in this subject matter. And it clearly is not working. And so I'm simply suggesting things that are being done on an ongoing basis by other municipalities. And as we've said before, there are bottlenecks within City Hall having to do with BURA in terms of utilizing federal funds that are coming here for the most needy, those who are the most vulnerable within our community. And these are folks who have done everything right. They've gone through this very arduous application process. And then what happens? They have to wait and wait and wait and wait, and they get no response. And as one lady told me, it's raining in my kitchen. And you know, if I was a comptroller who just sat on the 12th floor and with a calculator and never moved out of there, then I suppose I wouldn't know this, but I'm not. I go to every single neighborhood in this city, and I hear from people, and they tell me how discouraged they are. And so it's simple to me: do something different. And this is what we are suggesting to the administration, and I hope they listen to us.
And actually, last November, you suggested that the city consider using Belmont for more of the emergency home repair program.
Yeah.
You still haven't received a response to that.
No, but
suggestion.
Belmont Housing Services has been doing this for Cheektowaga and some other municipalities, towns that are as big as Buffalo or similar, and they're doing it without any fanfare, without any drama. They're just getting it done. And so when we go to a council committee meeting and we submit our information and we're told by them, Bureau, and by the Commissioner of Strategic Planning, that from the beginning of the process to the end of the application process, it's 90 days.
And actually, there's applications that took almost 4 years to complete. Averages roughly 2 years.
So that's not 90 days, is it?
It is not.
No, it's not 90 days. It's like 711 days. And so I think right now we've done a pretty good job in explaining this to the administration, explaining it to the commissioner, and also letting the council members know, because the council members usually are the ones who are receiving the most complaints from constituents who are concerned about whatever the issue is in the city of Buffalo. And so we've gone as far as we can go, and so I hope that the city will listen to us like they have before. We've done this before when we've suggested they do a request for proposal. They've listened and they've done it, and they've selected different vendors who can take care of whatever the constituency is within the city.
Now, not just because Bureau's dismal track record in getting these funds out the door, but you think that an RFP, a request for proposal, to set up a competitive bidding process is also beneficial to the city because it provides for best practices and makes sure that the city's getting the best possible provider of these services.
Yeah.
This provides the city an opportunity to pick the best person who will do it for the least amount of money, and make sure that the best product is out on the streets helping people as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Patrick, I've been around a long time and I've been in government a long time, even though I came from the private sector. And what I'm suggesting is very logical. It's logical. A lot of times logic doesn't play into municipalities and to government and to politics. And it's troubling to me, but it is what it is, and we're just going to continue doing the best that we can.
Now, when you got more responsibility for HUD funding, Housing and Urban Development funding, this federal poverty fund, anti-poverty funding, you instituted a HUD grants task force. Now, this includes 3 employees, 2 CPAs, and they're overseen by another CPA, your city auditor, Kevin Kaufman. You've done a great job in trying to have all your employees get the opportunity to increase their credentials, increase their education by becoming certified public accountants. In fact, you had a presentation by a team of CPAs to your employees to teach them the ropes about how to get your CPA, how to maintain it, how to keep it, and the road that lies ahead if they're interested in that training.
Yeah, it's something that's important. When I first became the comptroller and when I elevated Ann Fudi-Sciarrino as the first deputy, we both agreed that we're going to do the best we can to not only speak up when we have to, but we want to teach and train, especially the people within our department. But there's other people within City Hall that I know that we've been helpful to as well. So as a member, I sit on the Canisius College Accountancy Board, and as I go to these meetings, I meet people, and I met somebody from Deloitte, which is a top 4 CPA firm in our nation, and also an individual from Becker. Becker are the ones who actually put out the CPA tests, and they do other things too in terms of training. But I had an opportunity to bring them both in to our office in City Hall, and I was delighted at the number of employees that I have who came on their own time, on their lunch hour, and there were over 10 who listened to how and what to do if you're interested in sitting for the CPA. There are also some employees that we have who are interested in perhaps getting an MBA from one of our local colleges. So we've created a library. It's a mini library within the conference room of the Comptroller's office, and we have all the information at people's fingertips so that if they want to do better and learn more, and usually you can make more money and advance better if you have some of these qualifications. So yeah, we're thrilled about it, Pat.
Now you mentioned the Canisius College School of Accountancy. One of their students, Cody Elniski, just started an internship in your office during his summer break. Now Cody, along with Nick Sam, a political science student at Duke University, comprise your 2 intern teams for this year. And this is the second year you've done the intern program. And you think that's a great way to give young people some experience, a real world experience about the world of accounting and government finance and how that can help them prepare for a long and distinguished career.
But at the same time, and you know this because you know that when I was in the New York State Assembly for 7 years in Albany, I didn't have paid staff in Albany for the whole 7 years I was there. All I had was interns. I value interns. Interns are smart. If they're given the right direction, and they are, from us, and especially from us in the Comptroller's office, they really can do great work. Just like last year, Madeline Reed helped the whole team do the first PAFR. Cody will be very helpful this year in us, going through the PAFR again, and also other things. Nick Sam, who goes to Duke University, one of the premier universities in the nation, and he's an economist major with political science background, and he can be very, very helpful to us and has been. And so I like and I admire young people, and we work with them, and they're doing a great job for the city of Buffalo.
Now, Mark, you were just a sponsor of the Masten Jazz Festival over the weekend. Tell us a little bit about this event, and I believe your brother-in-law was a performer.
I have a ball with this. So for the last 3 years, I've brought in Terrence Bruce, who is a very famous saxophone player from Rochester, and he comes in with his jazz quartet. But I'm really most motivated by James Pappy Martin. Pappy Martin's been running this for the last 19 years. He started it with then Council President James Pitts. And it's an opportunity really for young people and for the community to come to Martin Luther King Park, Olmsted, beautiful historic park, and listen to jazz. So, and I just want to say this, Patrick. Pappy Martin, he would never say anything, but he's not feeling good. He sat on the stage in his beautiful white suit in the corner, and he's unable to speak because he's got some health issues, but he's got his little yellow pad, and he stayed there from beginning to dark to make sure everything went well for the Masten Jazz Festival. So I just want to thank him for his leadership and what he's done for our community, especially for our young people. He has helped them with the discipline of music, and they have not only become great musicians, but they have become solid citizens here in Buffalo because of his work over the last 50 years helping young people.
And as I understand, you actually were on stage singing. Unfortunately, we don't have footage of that event.
Thank God we don't. And so what I do is when I get on stage, I tell the people that I do not give political speeches on a Sunday. And they all cheer and clap. But I do sing a song called Buffalo Gals, Won't You Come Out Tonight. And yesterday we sang, Terrence Bruce, of course, is featured with the saxophone. And my wife, Kate, who is a beautiful singer. I'm not. And then we have a new person in our office who is an assistant to me, Sherelle Seif, and she's got a beautiful voice. So Kate and Sherelle both sang with me as we sang Buffalo Gals, Won't You Come Out Tonight. And I told the crowd, this is our new band name is called Comptroller Schroeder and the Sherelles. So it was fun.
Maybe at next year's Jazz Festival we can get some footage of that and show it to our viewers.